Good morning, y'all. Tommy's being daddy as everything opens. Can
Pick the chair up, man. Pick it up with your hand, man. Golly.
you say good morning?
Good morning. Welcome to another episode of the Love Brew Podcast. I'm Tommy T. It's my wife. Artika,
Artika.
Artika, say your name so
Artika.
people know who you are.
Good morning, everybody.
Um, yeah. So another Saturday morning, another Love Brew Podcast episode. This is the 20th episode, so we are 1/5 away from 100. So 100 is always a milestone. So
Good morning, Sharon, Linda, and Elisa.
good morning. What's up?
Just leave the chair over there. Go stand by it.
Just stop.
Tommy made Lily mad early this morning, apparently.
I don't know how though. This is wild.
Anywho, do you have any updates for this week?
No, I don't.
Okay. Kids have both been sick this week. Um, I realize it's a stomach bug. I realize that I can't deal with vomit.
Yeah,
I mean, I knew that about myself, but I really realized it on Thursday.
yeah.
Um, I'm hoping Lily seems to be completely over it.
Hmm.
Um, Quad is on the tail end of whatever it is. I thought it was over until this morning. Lily is trying her daddy this morning. And that's pretty much been it. Oh, I was able to go to my first parent teacher conference. Tommy, this was his second one. He went to the very first one. I wasn't able to make it to that one because of work, but um it's amazing to watch Lily like in the classroom
Yeah,
with these other well, it wasn't any other kids and there was just her two of her three teachers. But it was just amazing to watch that and see the interactions and talk to her teachers and laugh with them and
yeah,
all those things.
yep.
One of her teachers is so enamored with Quad, and I'm like, girl, he does not act like this at all.
Right, right.
But yeah, that's pretty much how the week has gone.
Hey, Lily, Lily, stop. Let him do it. He was there first.
Good morning, cousin Deshauna.
He was there first. You want to watch something on your TV?
Girl, you gonna hurt yourself with all that head shaking.
Man.
It's okay. Um, that's it for the week for me.
Yeah.
Get into whatever
Well,
topics you
I
have
cut
now.
the grass this last weekend, and my neighbors responded within the 72-hour period that
Only
they
one of
had.
your well,
No, there's three
two.
of them.
Who's the third one?
The two, it was one across the street.
Oh, okay.
They had their yard cut.
It was a
The
comedian
two neighbors down there.
that joked and said in the suburbs when somebody cuts their grass, the neighbors on each side have 72 hours to respond by cutting their grass. One of the next door neighbor that we talked to, um, she has a lawn service, so I knew she wasn't gonna respond in her
Yeah,
72. I was shocked at the guys next door though,
yeah, I was too.
on the other side, because they also have a lawn service that cuts theirs, but they cut theirs before the lawn service.
Yeah, it's
And
like let
then the
me.
lawn service came out like I think they cut theirs on Sunday,
Yeah,
and then the lawn service was out by Tuesday
yeah,
to cut it again. It looks much better with the way the lawn service cut it,
yeah,
but all of us have had extremely high grass from all the rain,
yeah.
spring starting, and all that stuff.
That's funny, man. But yeah. So they responded. I'm happy.
Usually, I have at least one cut by now, but my service hasn't come yet. Yeah, this has been a wet and rainy um week. We've had wet weekends. I don't think the weeks during the week has been bad, which is okay for a lawn service because those guys are working Monday through Saturday, or at least that's how my dad's lawn service
Spring
is.
forgot to show up though,
Yeah, the first day of spring, it was like 35 degrees that
yeah.
morning
So I was
here
like,
in
man,
Atlanta, and I was
this
like,
is crazy.
spring missed the memo that it was supposed to have sprung. But yeah, for the person who's cutting their own grass, we've just had a rough time with the weekends. Like even today, it's rained from yesterday around 1 o'clock through probably like 30 minutes ago. So, and I don't think it's going to get warm enough to dry the grass enough to actually get outside and cut it on top of it being cool. So, we'll see when the other neighbors get their yards cut. But it's supposed to be pretty this week. I don't think there's any rain in the forecast. So, we'll see what happens. I don't know what time he's doing. Oh, he's making breakfast for his cubs.
Um, yeah.
We're
So,
finally getting some rain in my area of Virginia. We were dealing with fires due to the dryness just this week. Oh no. Hope they weren't near you. I at my job, I deal with some speakers for online events. And one of them a couple of weeks ago was telling me that they actually had to evacuate her neighborhood for fires. And she was like, I was so nervous that I was gonna like not ever be able to come home
yeah.
because my house will be gone from the fires. I was like, that's something I've never dealt with, but like I know fires have to be very scary things to deal with.
Yeah, for sure.
Says the
Um,
fireman's daughter.
hmm,
I said, says the fireman's daughter.
oh yeah. So let's get into it.
Go ahead.
The happenings of this week, but because I don't have anything random to ask about because just don't. Not this week. Glorilla,
Yeah, glow.
a rapper out of Memphis, Tennessee, met the president and the vice president, and then went on CNN and I believe to embarrass the whole race of people. But it's, I mean, not embarrass us, but like what she said, it was like, yeah, come on, you don't vote, you know. I don't know how old she is, but she's young, you know. Lord, she went on the Laura Coates show on CNN, and basically, let's see, then read the text. Um, so she, man, they don't got the part that I want to talk about. They trying to make me read it. I ain't trying to read this thing. But anyway, she went on. I think it was a brunch that she was invited to, and that she went on and went to that brunch and got a chance to meet the president. Took a picture with it, and I was like, she took a picture with the president. Like, how did they? Like, initially, my thing was, how did they get connected together? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's going on that they together? And then I was like, here, Joe Biden peddling the hip hop community again, you know, trying to get in with the cool folks. Um, but it's cool. She's 24. Yeah, she's old enough to be voting.
I know I'm saying for like a presidential election at minimum, she's old
Yeah,
enough to have voted.
yeah. So, um, I'm trying to see. Look, this the picture right here.
Yeah, I saw the
Oh,
picture.
you did?
I didn't look into what was going on. I didn't know we were going to talk about this at all. Um, like when I saw it, it wasn't noteworthy enough for
Well,
me to be
like
like,
I
yeah, glow.
you couldn't help yourself. I Nah, like I like her as a, I like her Yeah Glow song. And then just to see where she is and then um hearing the interview. God, I wish I could find the interview, like just the notes.
At the end of the day, they got in.
Yeah. When she said that, I was like, but she asked her, Laura Coates asked her, like, what did they want from you?
Mhm.
And
Only
she,
reason I know she said that is because everybody from Memphis, which my Facebook feed is heavily full of, obviously from there,
yeah,
that was posted in quotations
yeah.
a lot.
At the end of the day got to
I
end.
actually had somebody just this morning said at the end of my birthday got to end. Thank you for the wishes. Good
I'd be like, good morning, high vibe,
morning, high
and
vibe.
Miss Tillman.
Miss Tillman
Um,
too.
I'd be like, come on, man. It's just it's like these people aren't prepared to for that realm of things because like we look at politics and we're careful to talk about them, right?
Mhm.
Like in a job setting, anywhere, right?
Mhm.
And then now this girl, she's new to fame. Because
Mhm.
let's not be like she's like been famous for years and years and years. Like half the people that watch us probably don't know or listen to a song that she, has sung. So it's like knowing who she is and now she's on this national platform talking about a subject she probably don't care too much about because look at the people that the demographic of people that are um
Hmm.
in the running
Yeah. Go ahead, keep talking.
like you got an 80-year-old man and a 78-year-old man that does not represent the things that she's thinking about as a 24-year-old woman, you know. So it's like she's here, she's excited because she understands who the president is and what that means. But it's Elsa said these young rappers are so misinformed politically. I'm so disappointed. Good morning, Irene. It's it's a disappointment, but they're 20. They're like at 24. I didn't care, you know. At 24, at 18, I voted because the first time I had to vote was for the first black president. So yeah, I'm gonna do that. But that wasn't. When was that? We was 21, but that was the first time I voted, like for the presidency. But for me, in my education on voting, I thought that was the only time you needed to vote. You know, at 21. At 24, yeah, like I didn't. The second time around, yeah, okay, I'm gonna vote for the president. Still, I guess at 25. So it's like I don't blame them because it's not something that they need to read up on. Like they should know, right? Like it's a responsibility for all Americans to at least vote for your local stuff, right? Our ticket said her name is Gloria. She should have known. What are you doing? Yeah. Oh. Oh. I feel like they're looking at the side of my head because I'm looking for you. Um, but yeah, I don't blame her for not knowing. It's just putting her in a position to be considered misinformed or negative light being put on her. I think because she was destined to say something like at the end of the day got to end. It's like, but that's in response to what did they want from you? Like,
What
what
did who
was
want
like
from
the
her?
president and vice president? Like, what was the purpose of them inviting you to this brunch and stuff like that? Or
And
what
her
did they
response
and
was
what
at
did
the
they ask? What did they ask from you?
and her response to that was at the end of the day they got in.
She said a little bit more,
That
but
means that she didn't know why they invited her. And she was just on TV and needed to say something. Whomever
she said she was also asked if President Biden and VP Harris spoke to her about their political plans or gaining the rapper's endorsement. Her response, "Hey, that ain't got nothing to do with me. I'm just living my life like it's golden and sung that song. But I'm not gonna talk politics. I love the president. You know what I'm saying? I love everybody. And at the end of the day gotta end. that was like,
So essentially, whomever booked her to be on CNN on her team that agreed to it is the problem.
yep,
They knew that she wasn't ready to go on CNN
because it's like,
because the brunch is a confined space, right?
hmm
So nobody's putting a microphone in her face. Nobody's putting a microphone
I
in her
don't know
face
what you
at the
said.
brunch and asking her for a quote.
Finish it.
However,
Finish it.
they did do that on CNN, and they should not have done that on CNN.
That's what
Like
I'm.
her team should not have booked
Yeah,
her for CNN.
and that's why I'm saying it's cool that she went on Laura Coates Laura Coates show, because I think to see two black women back to back, because it's Laura Coates and I think I can't remember the other girl name, but it's two black
I can't tell
women
you the last time
that
I
took,
turned on
yeah,
CNN.
it took Don Lemon's spot, right?
Hmm.
Um and so it's two black girls that do that, and for her to go on a black woman's show was pretty cool. But it was like you putting her in a position to talk about stuff she don't know about,
She ain't
you
never
know.
voted.
It's a possible chance that she has it, or it's a possible chance that she just went because the president and the vice president like invited you.
Now, even though you can't see who a person voted for, you can pull up their voter records to see that they voted. Somebody should have done that due diligence.
Yeah, I just think it shined a light on her in a negative way.
Mm.
Um, that's not gonna be damaging to her career, because the people that listen to her,
This is the same girl that said she didn't know Fox were real.
right? That's what I'm saying.
I ain't expect a lot.
No, you don't, and that's why it's like so surprising that she's there. Go get your cup. Go get your cup.
She really just came and whispered in your ear.
Oh, you want some more waffles? Damn, did she eat last night? Well, anyway, I'm laughing at you. Did you eat last night? Did you eat last night? Oh, okay. Go sit down. Mama's making some more. But yeah, man, it's I don't know. It's just interesting to see, and it's like, how do you handle that in the spotlight? She answered the question the best way that she could.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Tell me when it pops up. Okay. She answered the question in the best way she could, and all she could come up with, the best that she could come up with, was at the end of the day that they got in.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. She was not. She. I don't think she should have been on there, but she was there. So there's that. All right. Thank you. I appreciate it. So this next thing that we're gonna talk about, she's a growing kid.
Let me tell you, Quad at 20 months is a growing bill.
Right.
That boy can throw some food bike.
Right.
Here
And I be like, good grief, I might have to get a
he come.
second job.
Here he come tiptoeing like
Look,
this.
look, watch it. Look, y'all gonna have to help us out, man. Look, we gonna start having memberships, start selling more merch. Man, to just to feed this baby. He was saying good morning, reporting for duty. Huh? Yeah. No, you can't have that, man. Not that either. Quad is hilarious. By he'll go get my Xbox controller, and instead of him trying to play it, he'll go find me, give me the controller, then give me the headset, and be like, here, points to the TV. Basically, he'd be like, play. Then when I'm playing, like this little dude trips me out, man. Earlier this week, I posted on somewhere, like, he walks around the house like he pays bills. So one night I was playing the game, and I hear him come down the steps. He walks in the room, looks around, and then kind of points to the TV, and then goes back upstairs. I was like, bruh, Is everything okay? Like, you good? What's up? Man, this dude basically came down and pulled a daddy move,
Want
come
you to just make
in,
sure everybody was cool.
making sure everything is straight in the house.
Everything is where he left it.
Look, look, he basically was like giving his last run through before he went to bed. Man, I was like, "Is everything good?" So yeah, man, we're gonna have to do like, no, man, no, go sit down, man, go sit
The
down, go
fact
sit
that
down and
he's
eat. But anyway, on to this next thing, man. HBO put out a documentary. I know you don't have a list of things that we're gonna talk about,
I
but
don't. I'm just letting you do it.
um, it's called Quiet on the Set. It's about
Nickelodeon child stars.
Nickelodeon child stars and the dark side of it. Um, Nickelodeon did a terrible job. Let's start there by who they hired
Mm-hmm.
and who they like, how they vetted these folks. Because me, in looking at certain things, I have a I have a big heart for children, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because children are the species of beings that don't ask to be here, but we have to make sure that children are protected.
Mm-hmm.
As the adults, a lot of times the older kids got to look out for the younger kids because we understand in the society that they can't really take care of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So, um, basically, this documentary put a spotlight on the kids that needed to be protected the most. And not saying that one is better than the other one. This boy cut off the lights. One is better than the other one, but it's a matter of us understanding um fame, right? Or the meaning of fame.
He took it back on.
Yeah, it's tough.
Each part, and I haven't watched the part 4 yet.
Oh, you have it?
Mm-mm. I went to bed after part 3. Like I watched parts 1 through 3 back to back,
Yeah.
and then I was like, I can't take this anymore. I have to go to bed. So I couldn't. I didn't finish part 4, and I didn't watch it at all yesterday.
it's if you look at it, right? 'Cause I watched all four parts. What?
She said, mm-hmm,
She's answering it like that's the funniest thing because I used to do that with Blues Clues.
mm-hmm.
They be like, Do you see a triangle?" And I be like, "Yeah,
Good
good
morning.
morning, you made it."
You know who that
Yeah, I
is?
know exactly who that is.
Okay.
I know exactly who that is.
Not
Uh,
yet.
but
Okay.
she answers they ask a question on there and
Mm-hmm.
she answers it. Man, I
Oh,
was,
okay. She said, right on cue
yeah,
with
she
what you
did.
asked.
She probably was listening to me.
Probably.
But
Oh, but what I was saying was each part is worse than the last one in the series.
right, right.
Um, Drake Bell's story really broke my heart.
Yeah.
And it broke my heart for both him, but for his daddy too.
It broke my heart for his daddy a lot.
Cause his daddy is like, I told y'all,
Yeah. Yeah.
and nobody wanted to listen to
Not a
me.
person.
And then the person that it happens to be is my son.
Hmm. And then he didn't immediately find out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, stuff happened. Like, he talked to his son, and his son didn't tell him that.
And you can understand why.
Right, right. But it's if we start from the beginning, like my thought sitting down was like, oh, this Dan Snyder guy
Mm-hmm.
was awful. And what it was, he wasn't the worst of the people. He was
Mm-hmm.
just a horrible boss.
Mm-hmm.
And made the and it made you, when you look at it, you understood like the dynamics, how important dynamics at work are.
Mm-hmm. But I read Jeanette McCurdy's book. Um, I'm glad my mom died.
Yeah.
She talked about Dan in the book, and some of the stuff that happened with her wasn't even stuff that was mentioned in the thing with
Yeah.
them. Because she was like, Dan offered her alcohol as a minor on
Yeah.
the set.
Yeah.
And so I think that the people that spoke out in the documentary didn't have
Sit
Drake
down.
was the biggest star
Yeah.
out of everybody that was in the documentary.
Mm-hmm.
The other people was like one or two seasons on this show, one or two
Yeah.
seasons on that show, and they weren't the main character.
Yeah.
With them not being the main character. She want another one.
Yeah.
Go make her one.
What is like? Are you hungry?
She obviously is hungry since she keep asking for them.
Goodness, man.
But remember, she didn't eat her lunch yesterday. She came home with her lunchbox full and what I sent her for breakfast at school because she claimed she ate school breakfast. um. So yes. Go get it from dad. Go get one from dad. A kiss. um. The stories that were told in the book about Dan, which wasn't a large section of the book, wasn't about Dan, but it was touched on. And then seeing what the other kids have had to say about Dan, I'm wondering if it's worse for people who just have not come forward at all to talk about what happened. Um, like the guy, I can't remember, I think his name is Brian, black kid. Well, he's a grown man now, but he was
Uh-oh.
on the kids version of Fear Factor, whatever they called it, and the
Oh,
puppies and the
yeah.
peanut butter.
Yeah.
Like that was really like, why are y'all doing this? And it's weird because we didn't watch these TV shows with this eye, which I never saw. Like whatever show Ariana Grande was on,
Yeah.
never saw
We
that
was
show.
out of that.
Yeah, never saw that show. But like the stuff that they had her doing, like laying back and pouring the water on herself,
Why was
I
she
was like,
doing that?
why was she doing that as a kid?
Yeah. And
Like I think we with what was highlighted in that documentary, we tapped out after all that.
Yeah. Like it was all that. I still watch the cartoons. Like Rocco's Modern Life would come
Yeah,
on.
but those were I'm talking about the
Yeah.
with actual
And
people.
to be honest with you, Rocco's Modern Life was a little edgy.
I never watched it.
Go back and watch it.
I'm not.
Cat Dog, Hey Arnold, Rocco's Modern Life. What else?
SpongeBob had some stuff in it
SpongeBob is little,
that was
but
that
I
could be
couldn't catch him. I still can't catch him.
Miss Tillman said, I watched it and it made me so sad / mad. My daughter watches a lot of these shows. Now Drake's dad tried and then mama fumbled the ball. She did. And you have to be like super thankful for his girlfriend's mom, who was just like, something's going on. But why did that man think that it was okay to even be calling somebody else's house like that? Because I just know my mama would have stopped this at the second or third call. Like maybe, well, back then it wasn't even butt dialing. Like, you got to stop calling me. That's just not going to go like that. Hubert said, if it ain't Double Dare or you can't do that on television, I can't call on Nickelodeon.
I remember Double Dare.
I remember Double Dare, but I don't remember you can't do that on TV.
Uh, it was another show. It was like Aztec, like Mayan something. Man, it was like a little American Ninja or American Gladiators type thing.
Oh, I remember that show. But it
You
wasn't
remember
something
Salute Your Shorts?
I don't think I ever watched that show.
I used to watch that. Nickelodeon that night. Used to have
I used
what?
to watch Nick at Night a
Goosebumps?
lot because I'm old.
Yeah. Nick at Night was for the old people though.
That's what I'm saying.
Like
Because I
Lucy and
Love
stuff.
Lucy was on there.
Yeah.
That's what I used to watch. The amount of power and control people in power are allowed to abuse is sick. It really is. Good morning, Lisa. Good morning,
Man,
Tina.
the biggest thing about the Nickelodeon thing and seeing and the Dan Snyder part was his success is what was the thing that basically made him gave him so much power.
Mhm.
His success in the shows because he was the one that came up with all that. I think
Mhm. He was one of the creators.
one of the
He
creators
was
of all
just
that.
the I think he was the forefront in getting it on the network.
Yeah, yeah. And it was another show he, was on. They talked about, but I can't remember. But it's like him having all that power, and then how he worked it with, like used it with people, like the jokes that he would say and stuff like that, and then with the two writers, the
Mhm.
female writers, um, it just basically,
I remember Wild and Crazy Kids.
yeah. It just basically paved the way for pedophiles.
Mhm.
And then just to think, right? Like today we would think we have to be extra careful about kids just because there are pedophiles
Mhm.
that, basically will prey on children.
Mhm.
Um,
Like that one guy, the girl wasn't on the documentary, but her mom was.
yeah,
I think her name was Brianna.
something would it
um,
be.
Maybe I don't remember what her name was, but they found all this stuff in his house, and he was saving letters, and that he had a 7-year-old's underwear.
Yeah.
Like, how did you even get this 7-year-old's
Right,
underwear?
that's
Why
the
was this
thing.
child in a position that underwear could be left and
Right.
you have them?
Why were you like
And I get what they were doing, which again, like, I'm happy I read Jeanette's book before this came
yeah,
out. Jeanette's book I only read because of the title.
yeah.
Cause I was like, why you glad your mama died? Like, how
Say it.
bad was your mama?
Right. Nobody has ever said that.
Right, like how bad was your mama? But they put the kids in a position to separate them from their parents. Like her mom did not work. She
Hmm.
was the breadwinner for her family. And her mom was driving her to all these auditions, and would show up and stay on set during the day and all of that stuff. But her mom would usually I don't want to say tell lies, but like her mom had cancer at one point, right? Or
Hmm.
at 2 points in life, she had cancer. She would use her cancer diagnosis to make the people who told her she needed to go stay in the parents' area feel bad,
Yeah.
and they would let her on set.
Oh yeah.
So you telling all these kids' parents, hey, you can't come on set, you can't do this, you can't do that. You put them in a position to lose the representative that is um
What you
there
want,
to advocate for
Lily?
them.
What you want? Okay.
You put them in a position to lose a person that's advocating for them, that's making sure that things go wrong, such as what happened with Drake,
Right.
his dad, and I can't remember the guy's name that went to jail.
Brian Peck.
Brian Peck, that's his name. Um,
Hey, Lily.
it's very scary and it's still going on today.
Lily.
Even though we have to be on set, they try to make you stay back, but I'm under my son all the time. I get it. And your son is like super charismatic, and also I believe that, but I can't say for certain because of his age. If he felt uncomfortable with something, I feel like he would say it to you just by the things that, like, the little bit of time that I've been around
Yeah.
your son. Um but you're not going to get that from every kid, and you don't necessarily know if it happens with your kid.
Yeah.
But I get why you want to create the environment to not have the parents there, because some parents can be very distracting.
Mm-hmm.
But also, would you tell a manager that they can't come?
Nah. But it's like, man, you think about it, right? Like Nickelodeon was one of the greatest ideas because it's basically TV for children.
Hmm.
You had Nick Jr. or you have Nick Jr., which have the
It's
shows for
TV
the
for even
babies.
smaller kids.
that are friendly to them. And there's at that time there was no competition. And then Disney, but majority of the people that I knew didn't have Disney. We only got it when they did the free weekends or the free days and stuff like that, and we'd be able to watch it for a few days and stuff. But it was like Nickelodeon was on cable, so if you had cable, you had Nickelodeon. You know,
I feel like we had the Disney Channel, but we
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 didn't
had a
have
terrible cable package
we didn't have the Disney
because
Channel.
we didn't have BET
Yeah,
for a long time. Because my mom was like, I am not upgrading to that
yeah,
package. She paid for all. We had all the movie channels, but no BET.
yeah. She still did.
Shout out to my mama.
Yeah.
She got BET
She
now,
stayed with the movie
but
with the movie channel.
mhm,
Anyway, so the idea of Nickelodeon was wonderful, right?
mhm.
But it's just the behind the scenes things we wouldn't see during that time because we're talking about the 90s. Like internet is just now the late 90s, the internet started picking up. But we were still mostly playing outside.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
my
it's
mama was on the HBO portion of the paid
yeah.
services. She's like, y'all got Nickelodeon. Y'all
We
don't
didn't
need
we didn't have
Disney.
HBO. We didn't have Disney's
She always paid
Showtime.
for Showtime and HBO.
We never had any of those channels.
And Cinemax was only when it came
Yeah,
free for the 3-day
yeah.
weekends at
That's
holidays
the
and
only
stuff.
time we had any of
I have
those
no idea
channels.
what Lily is doing
I
back
don't
here.
either, man. But
Excuse
she's
the child. She being 4.
yeah. We've been parents that just trying to work. Uh,
Just being
but
4.
but the crazy part is how
She in front of the light doing
yeah
this.
how you would think that these kids were protected in a matter because I never even thought about like certain things because if you look like you said the bigger stars
Mhm.
were not on this.
Mhm.
Kenan and Kel, um, what's her name? Amanda Bynes.
Mhm.
What's the big girl name?
Lori Beth
Laura
Denberg.
Beth Denberg.
Nick Cannon's not on
Nick
there.
Cannon
Nick
is
Cannon still has, if I'm not mistaken, an executive position in
yeah
Nickelodeon.
he
So I
does
know he wouldn't
yeah
have
right.
been on there.
But still, these are some of the bigger stars of Nickelodeon during that time, and they weren't participants in it. So it's like you start to think about what was the difference between them and some of the backup stars. Like
Mhm.
you said, the Drake Bell, him being on there, he was one of the bigger stars.
Mhm. He was the biggest star that I saw
Yeah,
in this documentary.
that and basically spun off and had that's another thing that I didn't notice.
What?
All these folks were on other shows, and
So
they spun off.
that was a Dan Schneider thing
Yeah,
because Jeanette was one of the friends on iCarly.
yeah.
Like she was still a main character,
What are you doing?
but she was one of the friends. She wasn't Carly.
Yeah, right, right.
They offered her a spinoff show, and she was like, Dan would basically offer you shows to get you to do things.
Yeah.
Because remember that. Could you please stop hitting my chair? Thank you. Um, they Oh my gosh, I lost my train of thought. I really lost my train of thought. What was I saying?
Um, you told her to stop hitting the chair.
Okay, that's not what I was talking about though. Stop blowing your breath in
Yeah.
my face. That's true. VH1 is under the same Viacom umbrella, so it makes sense that Nick Cannon there. Katrina Johnson. That's what I was saying.
Who is that?
That was one of the girls that was in the documentary. She said that please stop jumping. She said that Dan offered her a show.
Yeah.
The Katrina Johnson show, but it never came to fruition for
That was
whatever reason.
she was the other girl on Amanda Bynes show, wasn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
She was the one that told him about Amanda Bynes because she was doing stand-up comedy at the Laugh Factory. They had kids workshops,
Yeah.
and she told Dan Amanda was there. Amanda was funny.
Yeah.
He should go see Amanda.
What you trying to watch?
And that's how they all like coexisted with each other. And like there's this crazy, like, I don't even won't say it's crazy. Like there's so much opportunity because child stars are needed. There's kids on almost every sitcom.
Yeah.
Like they don't have to be like a Nickelodeon star, but a child playing in a movie or a child playing in a television series are always needed because it takes the story along.
But them kids are more. I would think all kids should be protected in a manner that's like overprotection.
No, no, no. I was talking about the number of things that are geared towards
Oh yeah,
kids,
yeah,
like
yeah.
having the workshops at the
Because
Laugh
kids
Factory
are a
and all
part
that
of
stuff.
life.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like kids are always on shows, in movies. So you understand the importance of these things. And then you have the Disney Channel and you have Nickelodeon who are also creating things about children. So these
Hmm.
children have to basically foster their talents to be on these types of shows or channels.
Yeah.
And so all of that stuff makes sense, but
Really pick something.
it's it's like this was a small group of people that literally preyed on these innocent kids and was able to move the parents out
Out
of
the
the
way.
way.
Yeah.
And that one black mom that was on, I think Brian was her son. She was like it drove a wedge in between her and her son
Hmm.
because she spoke up about
Yeah,
things.
and he saw his opportunity.
And he ended up not being able to be on more things
Yeah.
because they couldn't get his mama to be on board with stuff. She was just like, y'all not gonna token black kid, my
Yeah.
son.
Right. Y'all are like that's the thing, man. It's like, man, you have to understand that, if your child is going to be a part of this, some of the things that comes with it, right?
Hmm.
But you also have to have that manner of this is what you're not going to do.
Hmm.
There's a certain level of things that my child can do that I'm comfortable with,
Hmm.
but there's also on the flip side things that I'm not comfortable with, and that's not what we're going to do,
Hmm.
because my goal or my role in this child's life is to make sure that my child grows up um a productive member of society.
And a lot of these people are just like they making money. Let me
Right.
step back.
Right. But before we go, I really felt bad. My heart went out for Drake Bell's dad.
Hmm.
And his mom just didn't, I don't understand that when it comes to parenting,
Hmm.
regardless of what we're going through, let's be on the same page for this child.
Hmm.
If I say that, and that was the thing, it was like it has to be more conversation about why.
Hmm.
We, like, me and you talk about the why of things a lot when it comes to explaining to children, but he basically told them,
He told her the why.
right. But it's like it's a thing of listen to his why and take it, you know,
Hmm.
take it like, what is the thing? Either you listen to response or you listening to understand.
Hmm.
Listen to understand
Hmm.
his why.
Hmm.
Because him paying attention to this Brian Peck dude and seeing, oh, okay, this dude got some pedophilia in his life,
Hmm.
you know, and then come to find out his child is being
He just
raped.
ran.
Yeah, I seen that. Unstable, like, but just not paying attention to what his dad said from his mom. It could have caused his son to not go through a lot of stuff.
Can you change this one?
He pooped.
Yeah. That's
Dang,
what he came over here to say. He
I
touched his
got you.
butt.
I got you.
Hmm.
Come on, man.
Bye,
You
Quad.
finna start sitting on the potty. Come on.
Um, it's just a no, no. Go with that. It's just a rough space to be in. And I do wish that more people or his mom had actually listened to his dad. But there's also things that his mom should have paid attention to, like the trips to Disney. It's some open ones right here. Like them going to Disney on the weekends, spending the night over there. It just got to be weird. But then he was like, I couldn't tell my mom that I didn't want to go over there anymore because essentially he was being a taxi cab for them. His mama I don't remember if she couldn't drive or didn't want to drive.
It was the things that his dad was doing because he took the role of being his manager.
Yeah.
So he was getting them book tours. Like,
So Tommy said that Brian Peck took on the role of being Drake's dad slash manager because his dad was managing his career, getting him the auditions, driving him to said auditions, and I still believe that his mom just did not drive, if I'm not mistaken. That's what was said in the documentary. But his mom couldn't take him to all these things, so Brian would take him, stay there. They would run lines on the weekend because Brian was supposed to be his coach and helping him, his dialogue coach, helping him run the lines, um, and things of that nature was one of the things that Brian was doing, and I'm guessing doing successfully. But he also was preying on him. He was like, in the beginning, it was innocent, and then it just got worse and worse. And until the girlfriend's mom stepped in, because Brian called, Drake was at his girlfriend's house, and his girlfriend's Brian for some reason had the girlfriend's house phone number, and he called over there like 30 times, like back to back. The phone was just ringing and ringing and ringing. And when Drake would say, "No, I'm gonna stay over here with my girlfriend this weekend," or "No, I'm not gonna do this," or "I'm not gonna do that," Brian would like get mad and keep calling back. And it's just one of those things, like, if this was happening at a third party person's house, what was going on when he was at home?
what you think about the idea of how we trust coaches?
Tommy said you have to think about the idea of how we trust coaches. I get it because
He was in the role of a coach.
yeah, a lot of
That's not
people
important.
um that's what it was. Miss Tillman said, I don't think he drove. I think she drove. He just said he lived in Orange County and it was at least 2 hours to LA for auditions and early call time. So she would just let him stay with Brian. That's what it was. I knew it was something that was a reason that the mom wasn't um there taking him to thing. Calling someone's home 30 times in a row is insane. It is very insane. And like, as the homeowner, home renter, name on the mortgage, name on the lease, you're not gonna call my house like this. Like, what is wrong with you? It's just so crazy. But I still gotta watch the fourth part, finish it out.
Actually, another episode.
Oh, it's a fifth one.
It's coming out April 7th.
Okay, so it's another one coming out April 7th. So I'll try to get part four and then be ready for part five when it comes out.
Um,
I think, are they releasing them in twos?
I don't know. I watched everything at once, so
Yeah, I watched one through three back to back. Four was out when I watched one through three,
yeah.
but I didn't make it to three. I mean, didn't make it to four.
All right. So the last thing we got for today
There's another documentary.
is another documentary, man. I hope y'all watched it because this is one of my favorite things to talk about.
I don't know why, but
I
okay.
don't either. Maybe because I'm a freak.
Really?
And
Really?
I would have been at the Freak Nick.
Sitting in the corner.
No, I wouldn't have been sitting in the corner. I'd have been enjoying myself. So Hulu's version of the Freaknik documentary
What is
came
it
out.
called? The Untold Story.
Untold Story, Untold Party, or something like that. It came out on Thursday.
It
We
says
watched it
on
Thursday
Hulu. Let me
morning.
see.
Um,
Which was very hard for me to focus on because Quad was
yeah.
actively sick during that time.
Let's see.
Freak.
The
Nick.
crazy part, it is not in the top 15
The
for
Wildest
Hulu.
Party Never Told.
Yeah.
That's what it's called. Um, it was Hubert said you missed out. Um, I knew that it started from not being able to go home on spring break.
Yeah.
That was all I knew of the origin story. Like
Yeah.
I never knew why it was called Freaknik. I never knew like any of that. So I did learn something in
Yeah.
that regard. Um, I wasn't going to watch it, but once I heard Hulu cleaned it up, probably watch it today. It
Um.
was definitely a clean version.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna give my thoughts on it because I've done a substantial amount of research on the
Yeah, Tommy
Freaknik.
been listening to Freaknik podcast.
No, I was gonna say the podcast a lot more informational
Mm-hmm.
about the Freaknik because for me, right, my interest in the Freaknik is I in college I had a good time, and to the bigger the party, the better the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
The more people there, you can just enjoy it. But to hear that the city of Atlanta was shut down because of this party, and everywhere you go you can enjoy yourself, you can, you walk around seeing people, music playing, you dancing, you just walking around having a good time everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I understand the dynamics of the outside of the ram, like the people that's just trying to get home,
Mm-hmm.
and how pissed off I would be, but I
Mm-hmm.
also understand the people that were there to party, you
Mm-hmm.
know but
They was
to
talking about you couldn't get to Marietta, and they was like, "This gotta go."
Right, right. You can't leave the city. You can't get in the city. You trying to go down a block. It takes 2 hours. Stuff like that. Yeah, I can understand how that would be irritating. And also I can understand how that'll be a good time. So I've always been enamored with the Freaknik because of when I originally heard about it when I
Mm-hmm.
was a child. I was like, this is something that I would probably never get to experience. But it was one of those things that I was like, no, that's not for real. I'm like 10, 11 years old, understanding,
The funny thing is, the people I know that went to the Freaknik never went to college,
so
with the exception of Hubert.
I never knew anybody that went.
I knew somebody that went
Or it
in
was
the early, like the
yeah,
the tail end of the
yeah,
Freaknik, like 92, 3, 4.
yeah,
I know somebody that went all 3 of those years. She would come back with the
yeah.
t-shirts, but
And
she
see
never went to
and see
college.
my
So I was
thing
like, does not compute.
yeah, my thing is I didn't know people that went. Like I just found out like the age range
Mm-hmm.
and the people that should have went.
Mm-hmm.
Huh? Okay. What you want to watch now? Here. Move. I was talking. um, but it's like just actually knowing and understanding, like, oh, okay, this person should have went to the Freaknik,
Mm-hmm.
and then to get their perspective on it. Hearing the podcast of the Freaknik, like it's crazy because I look at the historic things that happened to it, that happened in Atlanta, right? Uh, what?
Miss Silver said, I just knew I'd go one day, but it was all over by the time I was old enough.
Like I already knew that nah, there's no way that this magical place, this magical thing, and at the time, I didn't know how far Atlanta was. I didn't know where Atlanta was or
Yeah,
anything.
well, yeah, I guess y'all didn't come to Atlanta. Like you were
No,
close enough to come to Atlanta.
I was close enough, but we didn't go nowhere.
Yeah.
So
We only came to Atlanta to see my uncle
yeah,
and to go to Six Flags.
yeah, and
Those are the 2 reasons
that's the
I
only
came to
reason.
Atlanta.
That's the only reason I came to go to Six
And my
Flags
uncle don't even live here no more.
that one time. You know, but to hear about it, and it's like, oh man, this is a wonderful thing, and not understanding what was going on. The Hulu documentary for me was watered down a
Mm-hmm.
lot. It was a lot more information I wanted to hear and see them talk about.
Like what?
Um, they went through the whole thing, like rushed through the whole thing of the
This
Freaknik.
documentary was only like an hour and a half, right?
Yeah, something like that. But it was more so I would have loved to hear more about the beginning of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
They talked about the beginning, showed like how it started, and pretty much it started from um some kids that couldn't afford to get back home. Not kids, but college kids couldn't afford to get back home, so they just stayed for spring break
Mm-hmm.
and stayed for a party. I mean, stayed and party.
Hour 22.
Yeah, they stayed in Atlanta through a picnic. The information that I did find out is the freak part came from the song. What is it, La Chic, La Freak?
Mm-hmm.
Never knew that, right? So that was pretty cool. And the Nick part came from a picnic,
Le Freak Bashik.
but we understand what picnic came from.
Mm-hmm.
um, but then like once it fast forward through the parties through the years, and then they also brought up the fact that um 80s people would come to the Freaknik to basically that wanted to pledge.
Mm-hmm.
They would come. That would be one of the things that you had to do to go meet the people. Let the people
Which
know who
is
you.
strange because are they not on campus with you every day?
They. I mean, like I get it because you do have to like the people got to know you to pick you.
Yeah, I get that, but
You know.
you get what I'm
Yeah,
saying though.
yeah, yeah,
Like you not hanging out at the proverbial quad.
yeah. But it's like you know,
We didn't have a hangout spot like that on campus.
nah.
Like our hangout spot was the basement in Clement.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it was. But you go through it, you hear the stories briefly, but then it stops on I think 94, 93 or 94
Mm-hmm. When
when it
things start getting out of hand.
when the city was shut down,
Mm-hmm.
and then the aspect of um the Olympics come in
Mm-hmm.
96. So you have to figure this out by 96 because as
We're
they
not
say,
messing up our Olympic money
right,
for no
because
Freaknik
it's a
money.
business move. You got to understand that.
Y'all are broke.
Right, compared to what we can make.
The Olympics is rich.
Right. And we can't come in here and have these folks afraid and stuff like that because by that time, by the Olympics and the I think 97, 98, um you start hearing about more and more rapes and stuff like sexual assaults that happen.
Mhm.
Um
That one girl who was there talking about getting pulled out of a car by
yeah,
like 10 guys.
yeah.
Her
She
clothes
tells
getting
her
ripped off
story.
of
She
her.
tells her story everywhere. I've seen the actual when it happened,
Mhm.
the news report that they had
Mhm.
on it. I've seen that.
Mhm.
Um the on the docket, and if you watch this documentary and as enamored as I am with the Freaknik, listen to the podcast. It's I found it on Spotify. The name of it is Freaknik, a discourse on a paradise lost. Um Very much so more informational than the
what how did they go deeper? Because okay, the better side of a documentary versus a podcast is the
right,
visuals.
right, right.
What did you get out of the stories
You
that you
had
didn't get out of the
you had
visuals?
more people that were talking about it,
Mhm.
but then you also had more people um like the idea that in 90, like I'm not sure the time like when it happened, but it was real life Instagram in a way. That's true.
Yeah.
But in a sense, less and less females started to come.
Mhm.
When less females came, more sexual assaults happened,
Mhm.
you know, and
And the
that
reason that less women were coming was because of
because of
sexual
sexual
assaults.
assaults happening. But these then they, more and more gets reported because it's, because if you look on the Hulu documentary when they talking about the girl got pulled out of the car, all
Mhm.
those were dudes,
I know. It
you
was like
know,
10 guys
right,
pulling this one woman out of a car.
right, pulling her clothes off and stuff like that. But it's like, and then they talked about how it went from college
Mhm.
to more
Everybody.
hood, more, and I thought that comparison with Facebook,
Mhm.
how when Facebook
When
was,
you had to have a .edu to get
yeah,
on, it was different.
right, it was very much so different from like today's Facebook.
Mhm.
And today's Facebook is much more different from when they opened it up to everybody,
Mhm.
you know. So it's like you're those little small details because you were like, well, what changed in
Mhm.
the Hulu documentary? If you don't, if you never heard anything about it. If this is the first time you heard about this story, you'd be like, well, what changed?
Hmm.
You know?
I remember when they tried to come back out and do a Freaknik party here. It was around. I think it was around the time that I first moved here. So
Yeah.
it's been about 10 years, if I'm not mistaken. Um, People was like, "No, Atlanta has outlawed anything being called Freaknik."
Yeah. I remember and then they also in the podcast they talked about the Greek picnic
Hmm.
and how it was derived from the Freaknik,
Hmm.
which makes sense.
Hmm.
Um
But at that point, nobody's going to the Greek picnic to be chose to
yeah.
be Greek.
Nah, you already
So it's like that didn't happen for y'all.
right. But it derived from that, but then it was something totally different because they have events and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Um but just talking about the Freaknik, and the things that I wish were in there more, like
Hmm.
more I didn't care about seeing the people, you know what I'm saying? Because you knew what it looked like.
Hmm.
But I wanted to hear more stories of things happening at the Freaknik.
I You know how we saw a lot of people's faces
Yeah,
and then there was random people who would be blurred out?
yeah.
And I'm like, did y'all go through and find all of these people's faces to clear? Or did these people just explicitly state you will not show my face in this
Right, right.
documentary?
And my thought process on that was they probably these are the people that they sent, they probably got it from YouTube
Hmm.
or got it from like the people actually sent in this stuff.
I know Dr. Simone from Married to Medicine, her and her husband sent pictures
Yeah,
because they were around in the 80s
yeah,
when it started. So I'm assuming that they knew these people.
yeah.
And that's just a phone call. Hey, they doing a documentary.
You
What you
got
got?
you got anything from the freak? But
Because if I know that nothing that I did there is going to incriminate me from
yeah,
anything,
yeah.
yeah, you can have all my pictures.
It's funny now. You look back on it and you be like, was this a negative thing to say you went to, or back then versus now?
I don't think that I would list it as a negative thing because in college, you go to parties,
Mm-hmm.
you go to events. It's like what was the opening pool party that UT had
Yeah,
every
I
year?
can't remember the name of it, but
Would I say I didn't go to that?
nah,
Nothing
I went to
happened.
I went to every last one of
But
them.
I'm saying nothing happened.
Yeah,
So with nothing happening, I wouldn't be like, nah, I wasn't there, or nah, y'all
it's
can't show my face in
it's
pictures because
funny too.
nothing happened.
It's funny too. The first one we went to, like my freshman year,
Hmm.
we
You
was
said that like I wouldn't
right.
have.
We was like getting ready to go, like we were like on the wood. Me, Reggie, who else was with us? I know me and Reggie, but
Hmm.
we was like, man, girls in bikinis. We finna go.
And then you got there and there were no girls in
No girls in
bikinis.
bikinis.
We
We
was at
said
a pool party, not getting in the
right.
pool.
Nobody got in the pool, and I was like, man, what is this?
But that's the thing, especially as a freshman, who packs their bathing suit to go to college?
I don't know, but we went. We was like, we was going to see the girls and see what's up on a on campus sanctioned event, and then just understanding what is this? Where did this come from? Here, go play. Go play
KJ
with.
might have brought that
Yeah.
in. He just stepped on it so
Yeah.
she
I
couldn't.
see. I see. He doing it now. Bet you can't get it. But
Quiet is
no, man, the
Quiet
freak
is a
Nick.
bully.
Right. My whole enamoration with the freak Nick is because of the party aspect of it. They talk more. I was say it like this. I wasn't disappointed with the Hulu documentary,
Mhm.
but I definitely was like, there's a lot more information that they could have pulled
I
together.
want to know what was removed from this documentary that had all of these people in an uproar. Because remember when we first found out that the documentary was happening, there was all these people that was like, "No, this documentary can't come out." What was taken out of the documentary? Because honestly and truly, what we saw was very tame,
Yeah.
like very tame. It was more um storytelling of this is how it started. This is that rim shop that had the studio.
Yeah.
I slept on the floor in the rim shop.
Yeah.
We ain't have nowhere to stay. Like we stayed at so and so and so and so's house. Like you tried to find people with an apartment. I mean, not an apartment with a hotel room, so you could
Yeah.
stay in a hotel.
Like those are the things that you hear about from the standpoint of on the podcast part is, but it's stories not from famous people.
Hmm? Okay.
But it's like the fact that you have
Can you do what?
the fact that you have those famous people like Jalen Rose, Jermaine Dupri was in there.
Well, Jermaine
Uh,
Dupri was one of the
yeah, one of the
producers.
producers, Uncle Luke, was there, which it made sense. Uncle Luke be there,
Hmm.
and what he said, how you have the freak Nick without the freak,
Right.
and he was like, I brought the freak, which makes sense. It's like all of it makes sense for it to happen that way. But it's
Okay.
it's you have those celebrities, you have access to those celebrities. But what about the stories of the people that aren't famous?
Okay.
What about the stories about the people that didn't have a following? They were just at a party.
Hmm.
What happened with them?
Yeah.
Because those are the real stories. Because you look at Jalen Rose's experience at the Freaknik, or what he talked about. I had a good time, but he stood out.
Hmm.
He played for Michigan. He was a part of the Fab Five, Fab Four, or whatever you call them.
Okay.
You know,
Thank you.
so it's like those different types of experiences. Who was it? DJ Greg Street was on there, which makes sense. His whole job was to promote parties.
Hmm.
You they
Having Kenny Burns on there made sense.
yeah, having those.
Shanti on there, like, got excited when I saw Shanti on there because I met Shanti a few
Thank you.
times. Um, at women in entertainment
Yeah,
events when I used to
yeah.
whatever.
In another life, I guess.
Yeah, it was in another life when I used to work on budding music artist careers.
Yeah,
But like Shanti was like the girl around Outkast and Goody Mob and all that stuff. Like she was part of their street team.
yeah,
So she was there and she was mentioning that like some of her friends had been assaulted at these things. Um or had at least had experiences that were less than stellar walking down the street and stuff.
hmm,
So I mean, I completely get it. But again, it was very tame. Even the video footage that they showed was very tame.
yeah,
It was a lot more traffic, people just standing around talking to cameras, but we have to look at the times. Cameras are not readily available like they
yeah,
are right now. Like people was walking around with big camcorders.
yeah,
You gotta just be hope that they still got the footage
yeah. Right,
at this
and it's
point in
not
life.
damaged,
Right.
but I'm pretty sure they do.
I mean,
Anybody
and then
that
you
was
also,
recording the Freaknik probably still has the Freaknik footage.
but taking that footage and being able to digitize it
Yeah,
had to be a thing as well. So
yeah. But it's for me. I'm glad it was out there. For people to actually understand things, but then also see the downfall of it, as well, and the why, you know, um, and stuff like that. So it's like
what are you doing?
very informational, very tame. If you want another look at the Freaknik itself, listen to that podcast because that gave a lot of information on a standpoint of different perspectives and different stories.
Hmm.
And with anything, if you got a different perspectives, you can pretty much paint a different picture of what truly happened. Um, and it would never be able to be emulated again, you know, just because it was a once in a lifetime thing,
Hmm.
and a once in it was just for the 90s. Like that works for the
80s and
90s,
90s.
80s and 90s, but it doesn't work for today's time,
Mm-mm.
just because of how the internet basically.
Mm-hmm.
A
Yeah,
lot
I
of
get
people
it.
knew that they can go there and let their hair down and they can go back to work on Monday and nothing, you know,
Go back to campus.
you ain't got to worry about your job being in for the things that you did, said, or otherwise were a part of.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like I enjoyed it. I enjoyed like a lot of documentaries like
Quad
that.
said, uh-huh.
And
So I guess he enjoyed it too.
I think everybody had a good time
Yeah.
until until they didn't.
Hmm.
And people stopped coming.
Cell phones ruined everything.
It did. It did, technically. Um, but yeah, man, go check out that documentary. Go check out um Quiet on the Set documentary as well. Check out the podcast that I mentioned earlier. Um I saw it on Spotify. It
Lily,
might be somewhere else.
stop. You're shaking me.
Um that's pretty much all we got for today.
Yep. Um. Yep.
That's it. That's all you
That's
got.
it. That's all.
That's it.
I was
That's all.
thinking about what I was gonna do today, and I was like, I gotta go get some seed starting mix
Yeah.
because my tomatoes, I need to plant some more.
I need to build another raised bed.
Where to?
Yeah, I got two to get. Um, be on the lookout because we're actually developing another show. We've been working on developing a show.
Huh?
And it's been like 2 years now.
What you
So
say?
we've been
That
working on
bad.
that, and I should start recording for next month. So coming soon. I feel like this the
Huh.
no limit poster that be
Don't do that. That's gross.
on the back of the CD, like coming soon. This, and this.
And somebody's album never came
Yeah,
out.
somebody's album, but this one's coming out, man. I already got a list of guests that I'm working on, and looking forward to that. As well, check out some of our old stuff. I realized today we haven't uploaded a lot of stuff, so we're gonna need to get that rolling. Check out some of the old Love Brew podcasts and leave a comment. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel. Hit the notification bell so you know when we upload stuff. Yeah. Anything else?
No, I don't have anything else. I'm just trying to get the child to stop moving.
Yeah. And with that being said, you guys enjoy your weekend. We love you guys. We appreciate you guys, and we are out.
Bye, y'all. Lily, tell everybody
Peace.
bye. Say bye. Say it.
All right.